Okay, let's rock this bitch.
Janis Ian, high school rebel working tirelessly to overthrow an oppressive dictator, or secret tyrant hellbent on personal vengeance?
She's a scum-sucking road whore. She ruined my life.
Mean Girl's resident social outcast may hate Regina George with a fiery passion, but she's actually more like her nemesis than any other character in the film.
At least me and Regina George know we're mean.
She shares the Queen Bee's gift for identifying a person's most vulnerable spots and knowing exactly how to attack them.
Regina would be nothing without her high-status man candy, technically good physique, an ignorant band of loyal followers.
She's driven by anger and the desire to make someone else suffer to make up for her own secret pain.
In retrospect, you think she was maybe a little bit of a mean girl? Yeah, of course. She was like way craftier than the other mean girls. She was like a mean girl with the spy plans.
Janis is the embodiment of the unpopular mean girl, who disproves the assumption that you have to be cool to be cruel.
You smell like a baby prostitute.
Her story also contradicts the unhealthy myth that being low on the high school totem pole is inherently good for your character.
One day, you all work for me.
Janis is deeply scarred by being long mistreated by her peers, which has given her detrimental habits and issues she'll have to overcome.
What does it say about me?
You're not in it.
Those bitches.
Here's our take on Janis Ian's uncool mean girl and how easy it is to perpetuate meanness and social oppression, even when you think you're the good guy.
So I had her pretend to be friends with Regina, and then she would come to my house after, and we would just laugh about all the dumb stuff Regina said.
This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. It's like your own personal film festival streaming anytime, anywhere. When Janis outlines her plot to take down Regina, she sets herself up as the revolutionary to Regina's autocrat.
Regina George is an evil dictator. Now, how do you overthrow a dictator? You cut off her resources.
But the young women's former closeness suggests they have compatible personalities.
We were best friends in middle school.
And when we look at the evidence, these supposed opposites are mirrors of each other. Both are fueled by a deep, ever-present rage.
Nice wig, Janis. What's it made of?
Your mom's chest hair.
Moreover, they share a talent for psychological warfare.
We gave her these candy bar things that would make her gain weight, and we turned her best friends against her.
No sooner has Janis met Katie than she tricks this clueless new girl into skipping class.
Room G14.
I think that's in the back building.
Oh yeah, that's in the back building.
Yeah, we'll take you there.
Where's the back building?
It burned down in 1987.
She makes it clear that being friends with her means doing things on her terms.
Why would we get you into trouble? We're your friends?
I know it's wrong to skip class, but Janis said we were friends.
And it doesn't take long for Janis to start manipulating Katie into doing her bidding by infiltrating the plastics.
I just think that it would be like a fun little experiment if you were to hang out with them and then tell us everything that they say.
And when Katie has doubts, Janis forces her to continue this sinister mission.
I can't spy on her anymore. It's weird.
Come on, she's never gonna find out. It'll be like our little secret.
Thus, it's Janis, not Regina, who's truly responsible for corrupting Katie and turning her into a mean girl.
You know what? You're the one who made me like this, so you could use me for your 8th grade revenge.
As much as Janis claims she's out to tear down the system, she ends up just creating another plastic to replace the old queen, propping up this toxic hierarchy.
Was I the new queen bee?
So while Janis presents as alternative, her value system clearly isn't.
Here, this map is gonna be your guide to North Shore. Now, where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial.
Janis continues the meanness at North Shore High, and in the end, gets social capital as a reward for her victory. Meanwhile, it's the less angry visionaries, Katie and Miss Norbury, who actually make positive structural changes to the social scene.
Okay, so what we could do today is a couple exercises to help you express your anger in a healthy way.
If we look closer, Janis's character arc is a tale as old as time. A rebel who sets out to crush the system ultimately is revealed to be a part of it, or ends up ushering in a new order that's fundamentally the same or worse than the original status quo. In George Orwell's Animal Farm, the pig character Napoleon, who represents Joseph Stalin, starts out leading his fellow animals in rebellion, but he's morally bankrupt, and eventually all his rhetoric of animal equality is revealed to be just a pretense for the pigs to become the new rulers of the farm.
But the animals themselves were no better off, with the exception of the pigs and their supreme leader, Napoleon.
On Game of Thrones, Dragon Queen Daenerys vows to end the destructive power system that's made her and others suffer.
I'm going to break the wheel.
But she can't overcome her rage and desire for personal vengeance, and winds up just another tyrannical autocrat who has to be destroyed herself. We can find countless examples of this cycle in history and even in our world today. Like Nobel Peace Prize winner and Myanmar state councilor Aung San Suu Kyi, who was hailed as a human rights icon before falling from grace when her leadership didn't halt human rights abuses in the country. Ultimately, Janis's story reminds us how easy it is to fall back on self-serving ideas and justify your behavior when you get a taste of power. In part, Janis is vulnerable to these temptations because she's not very honest with herself. She frames her mission against Regina purely as a noble quest to stop evil.
There are two kinds of evil people. People who do evil stuff and people who see evil stuff being done and don't try to stop it.
Leaving out her personal, emotional reasons for wanting to hurt her enemy.
Caddy, you gotta steal that book.
No way!
Oh, come on, we could publish it and then everybody would see what an axe wound she really is.
The way she resists even talking about her past with the Queen Bee
Regina started this rumor that Janis
Damien! Shall we not?
suggests she's engaging in denial and emotional repression.
When we were 13, she made people sign this petition saying that Janis was...
Damien, please!
More generally, Janis's self-image stops her from fully recognizing the meanness in herself.
This is Damien. He's almost too gay to function.
Too gay to function?
Hey! That's only okay when I say it.
And we see this practice of self-delusion get passed on to Katie. After Katie's plastic fame and status start affecting her personality for the worse, she continues to assume she's on the right side, simply because she's started out that way.
I know it may look like I'd become a bitch, but that's only because I was acting like a bitch.
When it comes down to it, the real difference between Janis and Regina is that one is in power and the other isn't.
Does it bother you that they still use your original choreography?
Shut up.
But this simple distinction has shaped their personalities in significant ways. Regina has cultivated a Barbie-like glamour and physique because embodying her culture's beauty standards is a key part of maintaining her regime.
Regina's like the Barbie doll I never had. I'd never seen anybody so glamorous.
Janis rejects those ultra-feminine ideals. Interestingly though, the script implies this wasn't simply due to her individual style and tastes. The childhood rumor Regina started about Janis being a lesbian, which is why the friends fell out, wasn't actually true.
I don't know why I did it. I guess it's probably because I've got a big lesbian crush on you.
And we don't get the sense Regina based this assumption on anything apart from Janis caring about their friendship.
If I would blow her off to hang out with Kyle, she'd be like, "Why didn't you call me back?" And I'd be like, "Why are you so obsessed with me?"
Yet, after Regina marked her as different in this way, young Janis adopted a strikingly different look.
And then she dropped out of school because no one would talk to her. When she came back in the fall for high school, all of her hair was cut off and she was totally weird.
So Janis's self-consciously alternative look may not even be true to who she really is. To an extent, it's another way Janis is still upholding Regina's insidious value system, because defining herself as the anti-Regina makes her own sense of identity dependent on her oppressor.
Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
Significantly, it's after Janis hears Regina reigniting this falsehood
It's her dream come true, diving into a big pile of girls.
that she decides to finally get even by publicly outing her sabotage.
So, I have this friend who is a new student this year, and I convinced her that it would be fun to mess up Regina George's life.
Proving that her true motivation isn't noble justice, but individual revenge.
Because she's a life ruiner. She ruins people's lives.
Part of what makes Janis more sinister than Regina in some ways is that because she suffered so much, she's out for blood.
We gotta crack Gretchen wieners. We crack Gretchen, and then we crack the lock on Regina's whole dirty history.
She's willing to play dirty, not only meddling with Regina's intimate relationships, but also ruthlessly exploiting her body image issues.
Katie, all I've been eating are these Caltine bars. They suck.
To this day, a narrative endures that being alienated or misunderstood in high school builds character. Countless teen stories reassure viewers that if you're not cool in school, that simply means you'll go on to great things post-graduation, while the popular kids have already peaked.
Freaks never peak in high school. They never grow up to sell real estate, drink heavily on the weekends, and beat their kids.
But automatically elevating a less popular protagonist over a mean girl feels like an attempt to impose a moral argument, when in real life, your high school popularity or lack thereof doesn't predict your success or personal virtue.
We didn't party because we wanted to focus on school and get into good colleges.
And it worked.
But the irresponsible people who partied also got into those colleges. They did both.
As Ellen Willis writes in her essay, Memoirs of a Non-Prom Queen, high school permanently damaged my self-esteem. I learned what it meant to be impotent, what it meant to be invisible. None of this improved my character, spurred my ambition, or gave me a deeper understanding of life. Ultimately, being socially burned or excluded in your formative years can do permanent harm. Psychology and neuroscience professor Mitch Prinstein explains, when you experience unpopularity, your body responds in one of the most dramatic ways possible. The brain registers that social slight as pain. This in turn can produce inflammation, which may contribute to health problems like depression. So our culture's often flippant dismissal of the lasting consequences of unpopularity does a disservice to teens like Janis, who are deeply stung by exclusion and could be working through these issues for a long time.
You dirty little liar.
I'm sorry, I can explain.
Explain how you forgot to invite us to your party?
Still, once you do make peace with that pain, there can be a powerful silver lining to being rejected from the mainstream with all its rigid and oppressive social norms. The art freaks of the school certainly seem to be having a lot more fun than the rule-plagued plastics.
You can't wear a tank top 2 days in a row, and you can only wear your hair in a ponytail once a week.
Until Regina discovers sports at the end, she's deeply frustrated because she has no real outlets or serious interests in her life. But not being popular gives Janis more freedom to explore her artistic talent and experiment with expressing her individuality.
Hey, I'm having an art show, so you should take a night off from your double life. I want you to see it.
She gets to be friends with people she actually likes, rather than followers she feels are necessary to maintain popularity.
Regina says everyone hates you because you're such a slut. She said that?
Over time, giving up on fitting into the popular crowd, whatever age you are, is an opportunity for liberation. Janis' story sheds light on a lesson that's gained traction in our culture in recent years. It's laughably simplistic and false to assume all geeks are good guys and cool kids are villains.
You guys are bullies. They can't be bullies. They're nerds.
Don't pigeonhole us. We can be both.
Unpopular Ted in 16 Candles is a toxic abuser who jumps at the chance to take advantage of a popular girl when she's blacked out.
It's totally gonna have fun.
And geeky Robert Daly in the Black Mirror episode USS Callister may have been unfairly sidelined by his coworkers, but he punches back 10 times harder by sadistically torturing digital copies of them.
Daly turned her into that because she wouldn't play along when he cloned her into here.
Mean Girls writer Tina Fey has said that she was a mean girl in high school, a topic she also explored on 30 Rock.
I just found out that I was a jerk in high school. Yeah, turns out I'm not the lovable nerd. I was the bully you hate.
Katie's eureka moment about the moral of her experience.
Calling someone stupid doesn't make you any smarter. And ruining Regina George's life definitely didn't make me any happier.
Applies to Janis too. She eventually makes personal progress by choosing forgiveness over more obsessive retribution.
Are you still an asshole?
I don't think so.
I guess we're okay.
We also see that the superficial honor of getting a piece of the spring fling crown actually seems to matter to her.
Look, I'm a queen.
This reveals that no matter how much she defines herself in opposition to the mainstream, what Janis wants deep down is something we all crave: acceptance.
You Puerto Rican?
Lebanese.
I feel that.
This feeling of togetherness with your peers and happiness with yourself is the antidote to meanness everywhere.
That is the thing with you plastics. You think that everybody is in love with you when actually everybody hates you.
This video is brought to you by Mubi, a streaming service we love. Every day, Mubi premieres a new film. Whether it's a movie you've been dying to see or one you've never heard of before, there is always something new to discover. So in this world where it's very easy to spend hours debating what you should watch, Mubi is like having a really cool friend with amazing taste in movies, making it so much easier for you. They feature hard-to-come-by masterpieces, indie festival darlings, influential art house and foreign films, lesser-known films by your favorite famous directors, and more. Plus, you can even download the films to watch offline, and there are no ads, ever. Right now on Mubi, you can check out Rachel Lang's debut film, Baden-Baden, featuring a brash, unbridled heroine you'll fall in love with. The dramedy follows this young woman as she returns to her hometown and goes through a quarter-life crisis. We can't recommend Mubi highly enough. You can try it out now for free for a whole month. Just click the link in the description below.